You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the September 5th, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our Tuesday, September 5th meeting of Michigan City Common Council. Could you please silence electronic devices and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a silent prayer?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, he called me earlier. Ms. Nylam, on the roll call, please.
Mr. Dabney.
Present.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Present.
Mr. Mack.
Present.
Ms. Deitch.
Present.
Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Present.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Present.
Mr. Simmons.
Present.
Ms. Jigus. And Ms. Tillman.
Present.
We have 8 present and 1 absent.
And Ms. Jigas did make me aware of her absence this evening. We do have a quorum, so approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Support. We have a motion to approve by Councilman Don Prespolinski and second by Councilman Dabney. Ms. Nylam, on the roll call, please.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
And Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nylam. Reports of standing committees.
Yeah, Mr. President, I attended the sanitary district meeting last week, Thursday, and there's no movement yet on the lawsuit between the sanitary district and the town of Long Beach. It's still in the discovery phase.
Thank you, Councilman. Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Michigan City Finance Committee met on today, September 5th, 2023 at 5:38 p.m. We did have a quorum. The Michigan City Riverboat Claims Docket for September 5th, 2023. Riverboat Fund Number 2235, $98,907.88. Riverboat EFT Fund 2235, $0. Boyd Development EFT number 2504, $0. Those claims is for Kenny Machinery LLC in the amount of $75,575.92. Keisler Police Supply Inc., $16,896.96. LaPorte Chrysler Inc., $6,435, totaling $98,907.88. There was a motion made by Mr. Fitzpatrick, second by Ms. Tillman. Motion carries 2-1. The City of Michigan City Riverboat Statement of Cash Position, fiscal year to date, September 1st, 2023. Ending balance, grand total, $6,245,845.04. Also, I have dispersed to all the city council a summary of the City of Michigan City Committee 2024 City Workshop Budget Wrap-Up and Recommendations that was held on August 28th through August 29th in City Hall in the ELC 100 East Michigan Boulevard. During that time, the Michigan City budget hearings were held August 21st through the 25th. And going through the report, you do not have a file stamp on yours, but it has been file stamped. And if Mrs. Nyla will make sure that an actual file stamp of this summary is placed in all the council mailboxes. I will also like to mention that there were recommendations. All of the City of Michigan City Department budgets for the year 2024, the recommendations by the City Finance Committee to the City Council to accept each department budget as proposed for the 2024 annual budget, except for the following salaries and position. Motion made by Tillman, second by Paul Prisbalinski, motion passed. A recommendation of the City of Michigan City salary for police chief, salary for 2023 is currently $88,151. Proposed budget salary for 2024 is $100,440.08. The recommendation is to reduce the 13% to 6%. This would be an increase of $5,289.06. The 2024 salary would be $93,440.06. Motion made by Tillman, second by Paul Prisbalinski, motion passed. Recommendations of the City of Michigan City salary for police deputy chief, salary for 2023 is currently $79,828. The proposed budget salary for 2024 is $91,617.76. The recommendation is to reduce the 13% to 6%. This would be an increase of $4,789.68. The 2024 salary would be $84,617.68. Motion made by Tillman and second by Paul Prisbalinski, motion passed. A recommendation of the City of Michigan City salary for fire chief, salary for 2023 is currently $87,651. Proposed budget salary for 2024 is $99,409.96. The recommendation is to reduce the 12% to 6%. This will be an increase of $5,259.06. The 2024 salary would be $92,910.06. Motion made by Tillman and second by Paul Prisbalinski, motion passed. A recommendation of the City of Michigan City salary for fire deputy chief, salary for 2023 is currently $79,358. Proposed budget salary for 2024 is $90,587.64. The recommendation is to reduce the 12% to 6%. This will be an increase of $4,761.48. The 2024 salary would be $84,119.48. Motion made by Tillman and second by Paul Prisbalinski, motion passed. A recommendation of the City of Michigan City Clerk's Department that the Assistant Deputy Clerk position be added back into the 2024 budget with a salary of $47,590 and all entitled benefits. Motion made by Tillman and second by Paul Prisbalinski, motion passed. No further information.
Sorry, thank you, Councilwoman. The claims docket, September 5th, 2023, Fund 2235 Riverboat claims are as follows. $98,907.88, EFT 0. Boyd Fund 2504, $0, 0 EFT for total claims of $98,907.88. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Mack. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch. Aye. Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
and Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Reports from boards and commissions.
Hello, Tommy Klavik. I'm your Common Council appointed to the Michigan City Fire Merit Commission. I want to report that we did have our written examinations Saturday, August 26th for our applicants. There were 49 applicants. The bad news is 12 didn't show up, so we tested 37 of them. They sent their tests out last Monday. They got them back on Tuesday. More bad news is 14 of them did fail. They got less than 70%. So we're down to the 49 we started out, we're down less than we're but to 23. But the good news is it seems to me that the 23 that we do are going to be moving on to the physical agility test on September 16th. They're going to be really good quality applicants. Most of them were the lateral transfers from either other fire departments or other volunteer fire departments. So I think we're going to end up with a really good crop of firefighters to replenish our hiring list. We're only down to one on our hiring list. I just want to also thank Michigan City, our schools. They let us use their parking lot at the administration building there across the street. They set up the 95 old Pierce ladder truck. You all remember what that was when Randy Novak used to drive in the Snowflake Parade. And I also want to thank all the members of our members, the professionals, the fire department. They set up the ladder truck. Our ladder climb. The ladder climb filed the test, and they climbed up the ladder. They had to go up the ladder 75 feet at a 70-degree angle. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the physical agility test next Saturday. There's a lot they got to go through on that. I said I'll be observing and timing the physical agility test. I won't be demonstrating it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalavic. Any other reports from boards or commissions? Reports of special or select committees. Reports from mayor or other city officers and departments. And we have Chief Steve Forker of the Michigan City Police Department with his 2022 crime report statistics. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Council. Again, Steve Forker, Chief of Police, Michigan City Police Department. I just want to take the opportunity to go over some statistics from 2022. If you want to flip there to page 3, we'll start on the calls for service details. And I'm not going to go into this, I would say, in great detail. Obviously, we'll leave this with you. And if there's any questions, obviously, feel free to reach out. We'll be here, or I'll be here at the next meeting. If there's any questions that you need to answer, feel free to reach out via email and whatnot. Again, just calls for service, 2022, we responded to 35,958 calls for service, which was down 1,397 from the previous year. Total incident reports taken was 6,450, was up 683 from 2021. Total arrests, 2,313. 306 of those were juveniles, 2,007 were adults. Again, the total arrests were up 350 from the previous year. Accidents, for 2022, we had 1,109, which was down 161. Traffic stops made by self-initiated traffic stops were 5,027, which again was down 381 from the previous year. Citations issued 3,818. Again, that number is down from the previous year, 609. Moving on to the next page there, drownings. There was 15 reported drownings. One of those was a fatality. 14 were classified as near drownings. So again, that's plus 11 total drownings from the previous year. Drug overdoses, 126, 4 of which were fatalities. And again, that's was down 3 from the previous year. We start looking at violent crime statistics. Stabbings, we're down to where we were 5 last year, down 3 from the previous year, 2021. Shots fired calls was 478, which was up 79, which is a 19.8% increase from the previous year. Non-fatal shootings at 24 is plus 5. Attempted murder investigations was at 3. Again, that's plus 1. Homicides was at 4 total, which is down 2 from 2021. And I'm not going to list all the other violent crimes. When you look at on page 6 there at the total there, violent crime investigations saw an increase of 9% in 2022. Violent crime arrests was up 19.5. Again, this is obviously a lot of information here. If you want to refer to essentially page 8, Overall reported firearm offenses was down 24%, 24.7%. Drug-related offenses was up 11.1%. The total is on page 10. We'll go to page 14. Crimes against persons. That was up 20%. Our largest category in there, and that crimes against person was up 107 from the previous year, being battery resulting in bodily injury, misdemeanor offense. Crimes against property. So on page 16. Crimes against property was down 22.8%. Saw a significant decrease in those reported crimes against property. Moving on to page 17, government offenses. So it's your resisting law enforcement, obstruction of justice, escape, and violation of home orders. That was up 8.2%. Driving offenses. So you're driving without a license, suspended priors, habitual traffic violators. Those crimes were up, was down 8.5% for driving offenses. Lastly, on page 20, juvenile delinquency offenses, status offenses was down 42.6%. Again, seeing a drastic decrease in runaway offenses. I'm sorry, there was an increase. I'm sorry, I misread there. Juvenile offenses was up 42%, again, with a drastic increase in runaways, up 33 from the previous year. So again, just I would say summary of each kind of category there. You can go through and review the specific details on those. And again, if you have questions related to those specific offenses or categories, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. I know it's obviously a lot of information to digest today. So again, my office is open. I think you all have my email. So
thank you for the information. I do have a question on the violent crimes, just year to date. How are we trending compared to last year? The big ones. Can you share that with us maybe next? Because we're almost 2/3 of the way.
Yep. No, absolutely. No, I'll get that statistic for you for next, how the violent crime is trending.
Yeah.
Compared to 2022.
Yeah,
sure.
That would be great.
Councilman Dabney.
Yeah, this question is off of the crime report. Thanks for the report there. But every time, I get you guys up, I always ask about the flock system and what's happening there. And I was looking at our newspaper, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and I believe it said LaPorte, they had an arrest due to their flock system, and I don't see anything like that coming out of Michigan City. I know that public portal to the flock system is supposed to be out there as well. At some point, that was one of the big selling points for me in terms of wanting to get that system so we can keep the public engaged with what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything going on? How is that working for us? Are we just not reporting anything? And
I would say we're not doing a good job of selling ourselves on what, it is effective. It's been used in several investigations. We're not, I would say, really releasing those details, I guess, very well. I did bring a little report here for the last month in reference to flock. They call it a HITS report, which is individuals that are on supervised release, protection order, missing persons, warrants, stolen vehicles, habitual traffic violators, suspended drivers, expired plates, things along that. 18 different categories. That's just a few of them. The last 30 days, we've seen 52,192 hits related to those different types of offenses. one thing that Flock does ensure is that although those things have to be human verified, we can't just because we get a hit on one thing doesn't mean that it's accurate and it's true. We have to actually go through and verify it. I know that we haven't had 52,000 arrests because of that, you know, but those are hits on individuals coming through and essentially coming through Michigan City or setting up nests here in Michigan City that, you know, again, we're getting hits on. Again, not everyone is an arrestable offense, but if someone's on, you know, supervised release or has a protection order or something like that, we can get those. We can, I would say, siphon out those details as well.
Yeah.
But that also includes warrants and stuff like that. You know, that's what our officers are working on, is getting those hits on, you know, wanted vehicles or stolen vehicles and wanted individuals. And that's really, we're working on trying to find a more accurate way to report that. Because Flock has a button you can press, you know, to say that it was used like in the apprehension or used in the solving of a crime or the use of a crime. The hard part is getting the officers to check that box. So we're working on solving that issue there because we're not.
And I keep asking this because when we first brought this whole system, there was just a big pushback in the public. You know, invasion of privacy and so forth. And that in that public portal, I mean, like I said, that was huge when they came and sold that to us. And then
So with
up and work.
the transparency portal,
Yep, the transparency portal.
now that our Flock and Raven is fully installed, we met with them recently and we did, I would say, finalize that. So we'll be pushing that out in a release this week with our with a link to that.
Okay.
So we'll be sending that release out. But yeah, now that all that stuff is installed and finalized, we will be sending out that link to that transparency portal. So yeah, that's just completed.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Councilman Prespolinski.
Yeah, Chief, I just want to thank you for putting this report together. I know I was the one that requested it to get the information to the council, so I appreciate you putting all
Yeah, we
this
tried to
work
mirror
together.
it as Chief Campbell did in 2021, so that way it was, I would say, get relative statistics as he presented them, as he was still obviously in office for most of 2022. So.
Right, and I know that you were off due to, you know, medical leave and other issues. So yeah, I still appreciate you putting this together, and that way we know exactly what's going on. And yeah, I will. I'll look it over. I'm sure I'll be giving you a few calls. Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Tillman.
Hi, I just have one. I know I received a couple of calls in regards to the Flock and the Raven when they were being installed, and residents was questioning, what are these? What are they for? I just answered basic general. So is it okay that I direct them to contact the police department?
Yeah, absolutely.
Either
Either myself or Assistant Chief Corley. Yeah,
okay.
I would say we had a couple snags with the Raven installation where there's a couple installations that were probably not the best location.
So the laptops, the tablets that the officers have in their vehicles, are those stationed well? Are they having any difficulties with the maneuvering, or if they have to take them out and that they're in position?
No, the new Panasonic Toughbooks we got are phenomenal. They're rugged built, military spec on that. So they literally like lock into the base docking station. It's got a nice handle on it and a nice easy release button. And they come out, I mean, they're very, very nice. And like I said, it's more rugged. Durability is, tremendous. So should be able to get them last much longer than the previous ones.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Prespolinski.
Chief, thank you for the report in your department. I have a question on the theft category. How is auto theft reported in this report?
It's going to fall under a level 6 felony. They changed the law in 2022 in July, so we were having difficulty filtering that information. So we had to lump it in, so it would lump into level 6 felony for theft.
Okay, so can you give me a accurate number for
For auto theft.
Yeah, for auto thefts running the last 3 years.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Real quick, Chief, I just
Yep.
had a couple quick questions. I was looking at this. Why do calls for service trend down?
I mean, ultimately, it would be, calls for service, that's just classified for everything for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything from, community policing and officer calling out, he's checking on the gas station to, being 911 calls. So less people reporting things,
That's what I was wondering.
ultimately.
Not, is it all emergency and non-emergency calls?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Call
all
for service
together.
would be fault, everything.
Okay.
So anything that the police respond to, whether it's self-initiated calls or, 911 calls or non-emergency calls as well.
Okay. And the overall violent crime arrests and investigations, anything to pinpoint the increase in those?
No, I don't have anything specific. I can look into, I would say, deal in some more details regarding those, like
Yeah.
councilman there, and get you some more details on that stuff. I'll share it with the whole council.
Okay. And then one more thing, this last thing, the carrying handguns without a permit, how's that affected policing overall in regards to, dealing with firearms and
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would say we see more frequent, people carrying firearms, whereas in the past you had to have a permit to carry. That's obviously no longer needed. It does sometimes, I would say, if someone's a known felon, we have to investigate that a little bit farther, to ultimately prove or disprove if they're able
eligible.
to,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
if they're able to carry or not, we don't want to prolong any, interactions or traffic stops, with the public, but if, it's a known individual, and there's known convictions, we can take that step to investigate that a little bit farther, right? And get accurate information.
Yeah.
Like a criminal history on an individual to, eventually see if they are a felon, if they can possess a firearm.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other reports from any other city officers or departments? Having none. Petitions.
Petition from Singh Hurley LLC to the Common Council to vacate a public way referred to as 2002 East Michigan Boulevard.
Communications.
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on August 16th from Controller Hoffmaster advising the council the amount that has been spent through June 20th, 2023 for an on-call engineering service. Correspondence was also received from Mr. McCormick regarding communication issues between the city officials and citizens of Michigan City. IC 36-4-11-4 and IC code 36-4-7-3D were sent to the Common Council by Clerk Nyla on August 24th. That was requested by the Finance Committee during the clerk's August 22nd budget hearing. The tort claim was received on August 28th from Banks and Brower LLC in Indianapolis, Indiana, regarding an incident that took place on a Michigan City bus on March 8th, 2023. In accordance with Ordinance 4538, the clerk's office received an accident report on August 30th regarding the Michigan City vehicle that occurred on July 24th, 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Knight. Can you please read our first resolution by title only?
A resolution by title only, amending section 3E of resolution 4813 to remove the 1-ton dump truck with plow from the list of essential equipment for the cemetery department and add 2 UTVs to the list of essential equipment for the cemetery department. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yep, real quick. Once again, this is the department getting rid of the 1-ton dump truck, replacing that with 2 UTV vehicles. And I know we tabled this because there were questions. I don't know if the people who had the questions about the transaction got those answered or not, but I know that we tabled this before, so.
Any comments from the public? Comments from the council?
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. President.
Councilman Prespolinski.
Yeah, the reason it was tabled is because we were hoping somebody from the cemetery department was going to be here to respond to it. So I see that the superintendent is here today. If he'd like to come down front and explain why you have to switch the equipment that you're doing here instead of snow plows, and why you need the 2 UTVs, I'd appreciate that.
Well, the Mark Tomczyk, superintendent of the Michigan City Cemetery System. The plowing we ordered, or when we first opened this up with the ARPA money, we were given a quick they wanted a quick response, and at the time we thought we might need an extra plow at Swan Lake. We do not. Our UTV vehicle at Swan Lake is over 23 years old, and it's on its last leg. It's costing us, like they say, nickel and diming us in repairs. So we use that UTV on when we're out on the gardens, so we don't let the grounds out. We have funerals, or when we're doing foundations or marker, much lighter than driving out on a 1-ton dump truck. And when we're going to use one now at Greenwood, because Greenwood is getting to the point where we're trying not to do the same thing up at Greenwood. Excuse me. Where we would rut anything out and cause any more damage to the cemetery.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Dabney?
No.
Oh.
Wait to see the title thing. Motion to approve.
Support.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilwoman Deitch. Ms. Nyla on the vote, please.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deutsch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
and Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Can you please read our next resolution by title only?
A resolution by title only approving and authorizing the interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and LaPorte County Board of Commissioners regarding paving on Paz Road between Cleveland Avenue and Clover Lane. And this is introduced by Mr. Mack.
Any comments from the sponsor?
Yeah, this is the long-awaited Paz Road repaving and agreement between the county and the city. We've all got the email on that. There's a lot more plans for that, just in the street there. We plan to turn it and head down Barker, but there's other partnerships that's going to be involved. But the first immediate thing is going to be obviously the paving and fixing of that road. So sounds like they did a great job in getting that worked out.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public?
Tommy Plavik, 1316 Ohio Street, Councilman Michael Mack. I like you. I told you before, you're not the kind of guy that's going to back down from a challenge. You got a very competitive nature. And that's the qualities of man should be. That's what I've instilled into my kids all the time. We're finally going to get Paz Road fixed up. I've been complaining about that. There's no different when years ago, probably back when Bob Bear Fallstar was the athletic director, we complained about the condition of the south parking lot at the high school. Our friends on Carolina down on the administrator, they got sick of hearing about it. So I finally said, okay, they finally got it done. They got that big $5.3 million capital improvement grant a few years ago. They got that fixed along with the new bleachers and everything else in the gym. I just want to thank maybe even consider just having the subdividing the entire that length of Paz Road and quit claim deeding over to the county and have them do all the work and have them plow it and maintain it and take care of, kind of like what we did with the state giving the city of Michigan Boulevard years ago. I know they just did a chip and seal job on Wozniak Road where my mother lives, all the way from Pine Knoll to State Road 2 to County Road 4. It's a real good, smooth driving road. So just want to thank council. I'd like to add more sponsors to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalavic. Any other comments from the public?
Brad Minnick, Haas and Associates. I just wanted to field any questions you had about the project.
Councilwoman Deitch.
Can you explain, because I don't think there's a lot more to this than what was shared. So this is not just a simple paving, number one. Can you explain that? And then number two, this agreement is really for us to get a discount on some of our, having an agreement with the county so that we can utilize their discount for the asphalt. Is that correct?
Correct. The first would be the treatment would be a structural rehabilitation. What we've done with the CCMG projects is a 2-inch mill and overlay, and this is going to be a 6-inch mill and overlay. So it's going to be more extensive treatment. And in terms of the funding and the partnership with the county, they have a much larger program than we do locally. So basically cheaper by the dozen, right? So their hot mix asphalt price is much more competitive than ours is locally. And it's going to be a savings of approximately $400,000 versus Michigan City pricing.
Right, thank you. I think Ms. Nile, you can add me as a sponsor.
Before we go, anyone else want to be added as a sponsor? Councilman Dabney. Councilman Tillman, Councilwoman Tillman, sorry.
I'll be out of the state. Sponsor.
Sean?
Yep. Myself, yeah, I think that's everybody. Councilman Don, Paul Prespolinski.
Yeah, I got a question for Mr. Minnick. With the paving going on, I see that, so we clarify that. This is going all the way from Cleveland Ave down to Johnson Road, right?
No.
No, is it starting out, is that road right past?
Just past the eastern entrance of the.
Because they did that up to there, what, a couple of years ago?
We're picking up where they left off and going to Cleveland Ave.
Okay. Now, with that 6-inch mill, you're basically rebuilding the road surface, right? Do you anticipate any additional costs? Did you do any boring out there?
We've taken cores out there. The core that we have was about 7.5 inches. So the expectation is that we're going to stay still in the paved surface and not get into the base material or the gravel beneath.
Is that a clay? Area just like Cleveland Ave?
There's some pockets of unsuitable material that we're looking to stay above by leaving that remaining asphalt out there. That's correct. So that is not nearly as extensive as the challenges that Cleveland Avenue presented based on soil mapping.
But there is pockets out there. That's
on the Cleveland Avenue end in particular.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Mack.
Could you go into a little detail about the sidewalks involved in any of those areas?
Basically, in the interest of time to build this project yet this fall, we're going to do the roadway this fall, and then the sidewalks would be an effort for next summer or next construction season. So that we've had Skylar York and myself have had meeting with Michigan City area schools. Right. And we had originally talked about a 10-foot path along Paz Road to the high school from Cleveland Ave. That's probably going to be narrower than that. because the school doesn't feel the need that pedestrian traffic would be going two ways. They thought, you know, if they're leaving a game or going to a game, they're most all going to be going in one direction. So there would not be necessarily need for 10-foot width. So that's under reduction, I would say, that effort. And then we're also looking at funding partners for that.
Is there a cost analysis for that part of the project?
The
sidewalks. Yes.
We had looked at the path, in addition to the path along Paz Road. We were also looking at a sidewalk up to the old Brown Mackey College to access the new pre-K center there, I think. And then also connecting to the fire station on Cleveland Ave on the west end of the project. That because from the fire station north, there is sidewalk up to Barker, but not from Paz Road up to the fire station. So those three components were approximately $2 million in construction costs for the sidewalk. Like I said, we're that's just the construction cost. That does not include the right-of-way acquisition and the engineering costs. I'm still working through those and hope to have more numbers soon.
Any other questions for Councilman Devin?
Yeah, real quick, and you know, with this project, I mean, we can discuss this and we talked about that along with the sidewalks and how that's all working. And I hope that we can get it all done at the same time. Sure, get it done together. Because I'm just not a fan of stage one, stage two. When it comes to different projects, you could have turnover of council, turnover, and things can happen that way. And also, we talked about at the very beginning that the county has 63% of this roadway to pave, and they have whatever's left at 37%. But when we worked out the dollar amounts of what was being paid, instead of being 63-37, it's 80-20 city. And I was hoping that everything would fall more in line, but I do understand the importance of it. And like I said, I put my name on this to get it done because it's very important that we get it done. But I was really hoping we would come closer with the actual cost equal to actual percentages of road with county and city. But I guess you can't have it all, huh?
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Prespolinski.
No, I was just, I had questions about the sidewalks, and Mr. Minnick was talking about the sidewalks. I know we had talked about it earlier also in a phone discussion. Yeah. So the plan is for the sidewalks is to go from Paz Road past Brown Mackey along Cleveland Ave, correct? On the west side of the street, on the west side of Woodland Ave, going down to Brown Mackey, down to the preschool.
Correct.
Yeah.
Along Woodland Ave, yes.
Yeah, and then on Paz Road itself, you're gonna have, the sidewalk is gonna be on the north side of Paz Road or the south side of Paz Road?
It's gonna match the ownership with Michigan City because of annexation. So starting out at the high school, it's gonna be on the south side of the road. And then as it goes to
Woodland. As it goes, as it's going west.
At Woodland, we would cross over to the north side of the road. And then from there to Cleveland, we would be on the north side of the road.
Okay.
And that would align with right-of-way ownership.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any other question for Mr. Minnick? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
So motion to approve by Councilman Don Prespolinski and seconded by Councilwoman Tillman. Ms. Nyla, vote, please.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch. Aye. Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Can you please read our next resolution?
Resolution by title only approving and authorizing the interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of Michigan City and Northwest Indiana Regional Planning Commission, NERC, for the construction of Marquette Greenway Trail. And this is introduced by Ms. Deitch and Mr. Dabney.
Are there any comments from the sponsors?
Sure. This is the finish up portion of the Marquette Greenway Trail. This is something that's been going on for years, and there were some matching dollars. Couple of $1 million has been spent on it already. So this is to have the agreement between us and NERC.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any comments from the public?
Good evening, Council. Shannon Eason, Assistant Park Superintendent. I just wanted to get a little bit more specific on the dollar amount. This project will complete phase 3 of the St. Sam's, which is part of the Marquette Greenway. NERC was successful in getting a federal raise grant for the project, so they will be committing $7.5 million to complete the last segment of this trail compared to the city's $1.5 million and some change. So that's about 17% that we're kicking in. Outside of this interlocal agreement, there's another 1.9 million. So typically our trails are funded 80-20. So this particular one, we're only going to be putting in 17%. And the timeline is to have this constructed within the next 2 years. NERC will own this contract, so they will manage it. They'll manage all the construction. Once it's finished, this agreement terminates and it'll be retained by the city.
Thank you, Ms. Eason. Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council?
I have a question for Ms. Shannon Eason. When will the city be done with construction of this trail altogether? 2024. And that's it. We're done. Okay. Thank you.
I can retire.
Councilwoman Deitch.
I move for adoption.
Support.
We have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Deitch and seconded by Councilwoman Tillman. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
And Mr. Mack.
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Can you please read our first ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, an ordinance vacating a public way within the city of Michigan City. And this is introduced by Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsor?
The only comment I have on this is that this vacating of this alley that we're talking about, this alley was platted back in it was platted in 1903. So we're speaking of an alley that was platted 120 years ago, and there is no alley there at all. I mean, so all it is it's a green space between, I think it's Pleasant Ave and the alley that runs adjacent to Pleasant Ave. I believe it's maybe 100 feet long is what this piece of greenway is. And I was out there with the developer the other last week and with Attorney Novak, and he showed me exactly where the alley was supposed to be and where it's platted at. And I stand in total support of vacating this alleyway so that these folks here, they want to, what I got out of it and talking to them, not seeing any renderings or anything, but just talking to the developers, what they want to do there. So I think it'll be very nice for the Michigan Boulevard area and the Eastport area if we go ahead and vacate this alley and the developer is allowed to develop the property the way they'd like to, along with the city regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilwoman Tillman.
Would you happen to know what that development may be?
Ma'am? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure. No, you can come right up here to the microphone and state your name and address and inform the council of what your plans are.
My address,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
My name is Tyreesha Singh and my address is 312 Woods Edge Drive. The property is at 2002 East Michigan Boulevard. I have 2 lots there. We plan to develop it into 2 multi-unit residential areas, maybe some luxury apartments or something like that. And so that little piece of land that's in between our 2 lots is stopping us from getting approval to, we're starting with step 1, which is get this little space approved for us so that we can start the development process. And so that's what it would be, a multi-unit.
2 multi-units.
First, start with the first one, but
okay,
the way that space is, we may have to tap into a little bit of that to complete the first building, which the way it's facing would probably have to be a commercial and then the living quarters up above that.
Do you know, as far as it being commercial on the bottom and housing on the top, what type of commercial are you possibly considering on the bottom?
One would probably be we need a space for our office for the company, and then maybe something not necessarily with a lot of heavy traffic, because I want to respect the people that live in the property. So something. We're still working on it, so it could be maybe even just a facility that we rent out for the building can use something like a banquet or something like that, or a workout center or something like that. Maybe something where you have to make appointments and it's not so much traffic coming in. So nothing like a store or anything like that.
Okay, and just so that you know, my name is Tracy Tillman. I'm actually the 5th Ward for that area. So if there is anything that I could assist you with or direct you, please feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
All right. My God. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anthony Novak is online. Oh, okay. Yep. Mr. Novak.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman. I'm here and available with any questions, but Councilman Prespolinski stated it correctly, and my client Ty has great plans for it. So procedurally, the boring thing is a 120-year-old platted way that we're trying to vacate, and then we'll ultimately work with planning and development with respect to anything that would need to be done with zoning as we move forward. So this is step 1 of many.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Any other comments from the council? This will be held over for a second reading. Can you please read our next ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Riverboat Fund for improvements to Paz Road between Cleveland Avenue and Clover Lane per interlocal government agreement with LaPorte County, Indiana, and the city of Michigan City, Indiana. And this is also introduced by Mr. Mack.
Any comments from the sponsor?
No, this is what we just did the resolution on.
May be added as a sponsor.
Is there anyone else wanting to be added as a sponsor?
Yes.
I thank everybody again.
As well. Yeah, add Councilman Don Prisbalinski too. Thank you.
You don't have to go.
All right, any comments from the public?
Yeah, Tommy Klovic, 1316. I just want to thank all the councilmen for ever adding yourselves as a sponsor of this. You know, this is badly needed. We all know that's for Michigan City High School. I've told you before, we got to host other schools, some of our events almost on a daily basis. In March, once again, we're going to be hosting the IHSA Boys Basketball Regional, and we got the semi-state for another year, and hopefully we get this every year. Huge event. And I think this is just a great thing we need for our kids and our children in our city. You know, when they come here, one of the first impressions they get is when they drive our cities, and it gives a clear view over the state of our city. And, you know, we're not going to let our children, we're not going to let our city down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalovic. Any other comments from the public?
Brad Minnick again. Is it possible to go through all 3 readings tonight? No. Okay. Just want to recognize the urgency of the construction season. So.
And I have a question about that.
Councilwoman Deitch.
So a couple questions, because we wanted this last year and we could have had it done this summer. What is the thought of the school system of us interfering with construction since school has started? And how does that impact them? Because we wanted to do this last year and it could have been done in the summer when there was no traffic. Now we got school buses, you know, people crossing the road. How does that impact traffic?
Understood. So,
and why so fast?
Michigan City Area Schools has a window in October with their fall break.
Mm-hmm.
So my encouragement to the county and the contractor was to put the surface lift, the final lift of the asphalt on during fall break.
And when is the break?
It is the second week in October. I think it's 15th and 16th.
Okay. So we're not going to be able to do this in 3 readings tonight. So it'll be next council meeting. And are they going to be able to get everything ready to go and to be able to work on that day?
I misspoke. The 12th and 13th is the Thursday and Friday in October. So that my understanding of the county council's schedule is they meet once a month. So they would be meeting in early October to approve the resolution. So
they still have to approve
it.
So they still have to approve their part too.
I checked on Friday and their agenda had not posted. So there's a chance that it's on tomorrow night's agenda.
Okay.
But if not, their next opportunity would be in early October.
Okay, you couldn't just call them and see if it was going to be on there. I mean, it's important that this gets done. It seems like it's rushed. So, yeah. Okay. All right. That's all I got.
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. President.
Councilman.
Yeah. So the way I understand this, we're going down 6 inches, right?
Right.
You're milling off 6 inches, and we're going from Cleveland Ave, correct? All the way down to Clover Lane.
Yes.
All right. And we're going to start this in, say you start it in 2 weeks. Okay, that's almost, almost September is almost shot. So you're going to be able to mill that thing down in 4 weeks. And then you're going to be able to come back 6 inches. We're milling down 6 inches and all the other peripheral work. And then you're going to come back and blacktop it, 6 inches of blacktop within a 3-day period. That's what you're saying?
So the schedule the contractor gave me was 4 days to mill it. And it would be 6 to 8 days to pave it.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay, I mean, I don't know.
It's not as extensive as reconstruction. And there's no pipe work, which is very lengthy in duration.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just look what's going on out on 212 and what that's all about. And they're only milling down 1.5 inches to maybe 2 inches. We're going down 6 inches for almost 3/4 of a mile. And okay, you know, I got to take your word, Mr. Minnick, for what you're saying, but I think it's a stretch, and I think we're trying to squeeze this project in for other purposes, but we'll let it go at that.
Controller Hoffmaster, did you have something to add?
Yes, Yvonne Hoffmaster, City Controller. We just looked it up. It is on the county's agenda for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the council? Okay, this will be held over for second reading. Hey, oh, sorry. Councilman Prespolinski.
Mr. Minnick, I got a question after sitting here and thinking about this and what we talked about on that stretch with the any clay deposits or whatever, however you want to describe it. Has there been any contact with the sanitary district to look at the drainage in that area? To improve the drainage on any culverts in that area? Because that is the moraine in that some people probably know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that was a problem. There's a clay layer out there, and after sitting here thinking about it, is there any thought about improving drainage out there so we don't have problems with that portion between Cleveland and Woodland?
We had looked at the existing condition of the current pipes that are out there, and they're in good shape. They're not in need of replacement, but we did not explore upsizing them.
Okay, so you're satisfied with the drainage?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Deitch.
Are you going to be at the commissioners meeting tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Councilman Prespolinski.
How does the county get such a good rate on their asphalt?
They have a much larger program than what we have.
Okay.
I think it's in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 million per paving alone, in addition to supporting services.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. This will be held over for second reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Riverboat Fund to fund sewer lateral repair, public property fund in accordance with ordinance number 4689, codified in section 98-252 of the Michigan City Municipal Code. And this is introduced by Ms. Deitch and Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Any comments from the sponsor? Councilwoman.
Sure.
Deitch.
So this, I mean, we had several workshops previously when we passed this. This is to establish the money that will go into the fund for the lateral repairs for the reimbursement of residents that were affected by this. I don't think there's a process in place yet for them to, who will be responsible for that?
Pardon?
I guess I can ask Controller Hoffmaster, who's going to be responsible for the process? Is that going to be the sanitary district or are they going to put it in your office?
Yvonne Hoffmaster, City Controller. I believe what I would like to see happen is the sanitary district send an official letter to each of the property owners that are looking for a reimbursement on this. And once that, you know, and the, I'm sure the attorneys will be involved, the property owner will sign off and everything, and then that's what will be sent to my office as the documentation for the payment.
Okay. So a letter submitted to the resident, and then they can use that, and maybe they fill out whatever documents, and then the sanitary district send it to you for reimbursement. Okay.
And tomorrow I will start this conversation with the sanitary district.
Right. Thank you.
Councilman President.
Yeah, just to respond back to Councilwoman Deitch, that was brought up at the sanitary board meeting, and the way it sounded to me is that the sanitary district is going to take charge of, you know, sending out possibly a letter informing the resident of, you know, that they're able to get this money and to send in their billing and go from there. Yeah. And then I also have a comment, Mr. President, that, yeah, although I am sponsoring this ordinance to approve the $150,000 funding for this, because I think it's a very worthwhile ordinance, I just want to give all the credit to Councilman Paul Przybylski for driving this ordinance, for seeing the compassion and helping the people out in the second ward that were asking for the help, because there were some people, and you can correct me with the amounts, but I know some people had paid like $15,000 to have this lateral work done, if not more, and there were some less. But this is asking a homeowner in the city just to take a $15 or a $15,000 bill and pay for it. And we fund many programs here in the city. We spend a lot of money on different things, on, you know, ATVs and all this other, you know, stuff that we lawnmowers. But this here is actually helping the homeowner to subsidize them with these laterals, which is, and, you know, coming from the city, coming from the sewer into their sewer, and it's in the city right away. So the city should pay to have that work done. So anyway, I just want to thank Councilman Paul Przybylski again for his hard work and effort on this and getting this thing, getting this done. And it was well needed here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Dabney.
Don, could correct me on this. I'm trying to figure this out. And so the way it came across to me back in the day, when this would happen, the people would pay what's on the private land. They would pay for that, and they would pay whatever was on public. You know? Yeah. But now they made a switch that made the people that are, you know, the homeowners or whoever go out and pay a portion of the city part. Is that all here?
Yeah.
They're paying all of it. All of it. All. And my question is, why didn't they just switch back to the old way of doing it, but left us the burden of coming to cover? And I mean, I'm going to vote for it to cover, but why didn't they go back and switch back the old way of covering it? If that's the way they did it before, why didn't we work it out with them to go back and change their rules or whatever it is to go back to the old way?
Talk about the sanitary district.
We passed an ordinance. I think the ordinance we passed though was for us to cover it now.
I know.
I don't know what the old way was. I just know that I don't know if there was an old way. I just know that the resident has been responsible for paying the whole thing.
Always paying for it all.
Right. Right.
So they never paid any of the sanitary.
I don't recall that. No. I don't think so. Yeah, they just paid it or just suffered through it.
Okay. I thought there was a time when it was paid. Also, they paid the city portion, private owner paid the other. Okay, and it was changed at some point, but if that's the case, then okay, I understand.
Yeah, as far as I know, it was never like that.
Councilman Preselinski.
Well, as the author of this and doing a lot of research on this particular problem, that the sanitary district at one time did not have this fell under a practice that they did. Then through the legislature, they created power over the district, and they passed a internal ordinance saying what they were going to do. And also they started this, and then they refined it, I think in 15, and where they stipulated more that the homeowners would pay half of any repair work to be done in the right of way. And the ordinance was developed this way because of that preceding ordinance they have at the sanitary district, that our ordinance supersedes their ordinance. And this is the way it was explained to me by, I had extensive conversations with Mr. Myers about this. But, you know, it's like Councilman Don Prespolinski said, this has been a long time coming, because there's not only people in the second ward that have a problem. They did a whole big project over on the west side, and you know, it's a problem all over. A lot of these older neighborhoods have got these clay baked tiles, but the real big problem is this. And I was going to say this to not particularly tonight. I think we have a problem of where we've been planting trees, you know, and that needs to be looked at. And maybe we need to get in a program where we just start putting in the new laterals and get it over with, or do a program and we put the laterals down the alleys so they're new, and that's where they should be at. Thank you. But I hope everybody votes for this. And I think in the ordinance, the intention is that a person would petition the sanitary district, and then the sanitary district would send a PO to the controller's office so that there's a trail for this, so they know that it's gotten paid. And a lot of these people, I think, I talked to the superintendent at the sanitary district that they have plans on contacting these people on where it goes in the ownership of the property. Thank you. Thank you, Don, also for the kudos. What do you want me to buy you, a hamburger tonight?
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments from the public?
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I know probably 30 years ago when I hooked into it, I bought my house and the real estate agent told me I was hooked up the city, and later in life I found out I was on a septic system and it failed me. So I got hooked in, and I don't remember the fee, but there was a tap-in fee out there, but I would have to dig my paperwork up, but it's been so long ago. They did charge a tap-in fee to tap into the city sewer in the alley.
Thank you, Mr. Hallahan. Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilman Prespolinski.
Could I be added also as a co-sponsor of this legislation, this important legislation?
Anyone else want to be added? All right. All right, this will be held over for second reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, ordinance or resolution for appropriation and tax rates. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Yes, and this is basically what we do for our budget hearing. I mean, our budget for the 2024 year. So any direct questions will probably be better answered by the controller's office. Any comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilman Prespolinski.
Can I be added as a co-sponsor?
Yes. Ms. Nyla? Okay.
Sure.
That'll be held over for second reading. Ms. Nyla, could you please read our next ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, an ordinance setting salaries and wages for appointed officials and employees of the city of Michigan City, Indiana for the calendar year 2024. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Same as before, this is regards to our 2024 budget. So any comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilman Prespolinski.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Prespolinski. Any comments from the council? This will be held over for second reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading?
I'm sorry. I didn't catch the time. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
All right, I'm just looking at and I'm sure Yvonne is going to be able to answer this, because Tracy read off the changes and the recommendations. And I'm looking at this. Yeah, the salary ordinance, like I just jumped off the page at me. The chief still says 100,000. So we made the changes up there. Will show up in the when we need to vote on those.
I don't think they're in amendment form yet.
Yeah, amendments.
That's correct. So when they're submitted as amendments, then the ordinance will be amended, and then you'll vote on the amendments to the original ordinance.
Tracy read off the recommendations from the finance committee, so they weren't in.
But those amendments will be forthcoming.
Gotcha. That's how I was wondering.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Probably on second reading.
So,
Okay.
yeah, typically that does happen on second reading.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Tracy.
No, Mrs. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the mayor.
Again, this is referring to the proposed budget for 2024. Any comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilman Prespolinski.
I'd like to be a co-sponsor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Prespolinski. Any other comments from the council? This will be held over for second reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the city clerk. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. Again, this is in regards to our 2024 proposed budget. So any comments from the public? Comments from the council? Councilman Prespolinski would like to be added as a sponsor.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the council? Having none, that will be held over for second reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, and an ordinance establishing salaries for the fire department of the city of Michigan City for the calendar year of 2024. And this is also introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. This is for our 2024 budget proposal. Any comments from the public? Comments from the Chief Forker?
Yeah, obviously, I think Ms. Tillman indicated that there was maybe an amendment to this ordinance or.
This is the fire right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm just asking, obviously, fire's not here. The raise that I know between the contract and Michigan City Fire Department union contract, I would obviously recommend that they keep parity amongst ranks. So keep that in mind when I would say give them those raises. To keep parity amongst ranks. So yes. I'll speak on the fire police department. I know more.
Okay.
Keep parity amongst ranks in mind when giving those raises.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
I have a question.
Councilwoman Deitch has a question.
Oh, well, when you say that, I know one of the questions that I asked, and I know that it was provided to us, is even as the deputy or the assistant chief, police chief, fire chief, whatever, is still a significant amount over the highest rank, at least by almost $10,000 over the captain's position. So we did look at it. It just seemed like it was salary is salary. You get benefits for being salaried and leading.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right. But that was some of the things that was looked at. How much does the captains make versus the chief?
Yeah. And again, obviously I'm up here as the chief of police saying that, but it's also in the future as, I can speak on behalf of the police department. I know that they're seeing nearly a 13% raise next year with the bonuses that were included in the 2% raise in the contract. And then to see a 6% raise for administrators, eventually that if that trend continued, there wouldn't be that gap in ranks or that parity amongst ranks. So I just wanted to, again, voice that opinion. Again, it's not only obviously my current situation, but again, I'm looking long-term future, right? That's a 7%, right? Difference between 13% raise for the officers, the highest rank of captain, and a 6% raise for assistant chiefs and chiefs. So again, that's a 7% difference. If that trend continued over years, then we would lose that parity amongst ranks. That's all I just wanted to say. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comments from the public?
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I well know now that the firefighter salary is all established and negotiated by their union under Article 12 of the 475 contract. I know they got their $6,500 lump sum bonus for this year, and they'll get bumped up to $6,500 for next year, and their contract expires on January 31st in 2024. We'll have a new contract. Things I'd like to maybe recommend or suggest, and we had this at ANCO back in the day when we all worked there. What we did, we had our firefighter, we don't get hardly any vacation days. That's one thing when I read through the contract. What we did at ANCO is for every 1 hour's month pay, we donated to the United Way of LaPorta County. I know they just had their car wash. We got a bonus vacation day. Maybe that's something we might work into the next contract next time. That'd be a great thing. Another thing I'd like, we always got like a $25 Meijer gift card, for our family. I like to get maybe like $100, go into Lit and get $8,100 from Lit. And also for the chief and deputy chiefs, they can get an L supermarket gift card. They can either buy groceries for their family or they can turn around and just donate to the Salvation Army. And I think that'd be a great bonus for us to do. And then the same thing can go for the police. I really can't speak for the police. I don't speak for the fire, but something I'd like to see us maybe do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kolovic. Any other comments from the public? Comments from the council?
Question.
Councilwoman Deitch.
So, I have so as far as the new contract with the things that we negotiated, how much of that are we eating into the Lit for next year because of what we negotiated for the police and fire?
Yvonne Hoffmaster, City Controller. Of the anticipated revenue in the Lit Fund next year, covering the raises in the contract for next year, we will have approximately $150,000 left at the end of next year.
I just want to make sure the public hears that because there is not going to be any lit money, not much available to do anything with it. So this is, you know, ongoing as we deal with salaries. I want to make sure we talk about that and that we understand where we're going to be for next year.
Thank you, Councilwoman Deitch. Councilman Dabney.
Yeah, I was waiting on Angie to say that's out of 4.32 million. So we're looking at about 150,000 left. I was waiting on her to say that number. But yeah, so that's out of $4.32 million right now. It's 150,000 left.
Councilman Prespolinski.
Have me as a co-sponsor, please.
Okay.
But I would like to ask, I would like to clarify something that the controller said. When we were in our finance meetings, I asked the question about how much money we're looking at having left over into next year, 2024. And at that time, the answer was like between $300,000 and $400,000. And so what has changed between our meetings and right now when you're saying 150 or 140,000 left over? Do we have solid figures from the county?
I think it's all projections.
I
think it's all projections.
Right. So on the projection cost or the monies, is that what's being coming out from the from Mr. Stable's office? Or do you have solid projections on that so far?
We won't have the projections on the lit money until it's usually mid to late November. So these are just based on assumptions. In addition to the raises, there was also some police equipment added to this budget. So that's why it's down to the $150,000.
Okay, I just want to clarify that they're assumptions. Thank you.
And I do recall that when we were approached to initiate the lit tax, it was presented to us for recruitment and retention for officers. So I think we're spending it the way it was set up to be spent. So, yep. Okay. Any other comments from the council? This will be held over for a second reading. Ms. Nyla, can you please read our next ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, establishing the salaries for the Michigan City Police Department for the calendar year 2024. And this is introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Again, this is to reflect for the proposed 2024 budget. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the council? Councilman Prespolinski.
May I be added as a co-sponsor?
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from the council? This will be held over for second reading. Can you please read our next ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salaries for the common council members. And this is also introduced by Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Again, this is for the 2024 proposed budget. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the council? Councilman Prespolinski.
Could I be added as a co-sponsor, please?
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from the council? Councilwoman Deitch.
Yes, I know that this year We put a 6% raise across the board. But one thing that was shared every single year by the council is that we did not want to do a raise until this year. And a lot of the salaries across the city were raised significantly. And this was shared each year. And I know that this city council is probably one of the lowest paid. And we said that this year would be the year we would want to bring it into alignment. Of course, that I think it's a $500 raise or something like that. So the only thing annual raise. So I know that I don't have anything to add, and we can't increase anything, but I would recommend that the council be raised at least to 17,000, just to be still the lowest in the region, but still something significant for the next council, since we've bypassed getting a raise for the last, it's been a long time. I think I made almost this amount back in 2008, 9. It hasn't been raised significantly in the last 15 years. It may have not even gone up a whole $1,000 since then. It's been a long time. So that would be my only comment for the salaries for the city council members.
And just to add on to that, it would probably behoove us to do the same thing in regards to whoever is the president. It won't be me, so I'm not campaigning for myself. But an additional stipend for the president as well as the chair of the finance committee, because there's a lot of behind the scene work that has to be done that, most people don't really realize that the president of the council, it's more than just presiding over these meetings, and the chairman of the finance committee is doing a lot more work than just a regular council member. So just put that out there. Any other comments from the council? Okay, this will be held over for second reading. New business. We have no new business. Unfinished business. The council has one appointment to the Michigan City Police Civil Service Commission, expiring September 7, 2023, 2-year term. Nominee Leila Simmons. So are we voting tonight? Yeah. So Ms. Knight, want to vote?
Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Simmons.
Mr. Simmons.
Simmons.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Simmons.
Ms. Tillman.
Simmons.
Mr. Dabney.
Simmons.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Simmons.
Mr. Mack.
Simmons.
And Ms. Deitch.
Simmons.
We have 8 in favor and no one opposed.
Congratulations, Ms. Simmons. Keep up the good work. Nominations. The council has the following appointment to the Michigan City Social Status of African American Males. Term expired February 15, 2023. And it was a position vacated by the Ministerial Association.
It's true.
Councilwoman Deitch.
And I haven't had a chance to update it, but I intend to make an amendment to make that another at-large position. And also to change these from 1-year terms to 2-year terms.
Thank you.
So that we don't have to do this every year.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Comments from the public.
Yeah, Tommy Kalavic, 1316 Ohio Street. I just want to make a quick public service announcement. I went on the SRI website. The county will be conducting another tax sale. It'll be a tax sale, it won't be a commissioner's deed sale. It'll be October 19th at the county complex meeting in LaPorte. And that's a great opportunity. They'll come out with a list 30 days before the sale, probably in the next coming week, of all the properties that are going to be up there. Always a lot of good properties, You might want to get that house for that younger adult. You don't want them living with you their whole life, and you might want to get a lot of good properties in Michigan. So you might want to get an open lot. So maybe somewhere to have your family come and have their barbecues or picnics, or have a place for your children to go play. You can build your own house on it, or it's I'm gonna probably go, I sold my lot across from the firehouse last month. I made a little bit of money on it. You can't put your signs up here anymore. I gotta find somewhere else to put them. I just wanted to probably pass that along, and on that, I just want to have y'all have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Kalavi.
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I'm at a loss on this ordinance back at the Paz Road. If I understand right, you're just now going to start on this. I know Mr. John Preblinsky questioned the mayor months and months ago about Paz Road being paved. And it's just now coming up now. I don't understand it. All these other streets are getting paved in town, just certain ones. And some that need it aren't getting done. I'm at a loss because the mayor got up here and said he was working with LaPorte County at that time to get Paz Road done then. And I'm confused because it's just now coming up now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hallahan. Any other comments from the public? Any other comments from the public? Any online? Okay. Okay, public comment is closed. Comments from the council. Councilwoman Tillman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to add on to what Mr. Kalavic was saying. Just a PSA or FYI, you can also go to your local Michigan City courthouse because there is a posting of all those properties will be listed. It's on the first floor. Soon as you come into the courthouse, go through security, and as you're walking to the elevators, they're posted on the wall. If you are at the LaPorte Circuit Courthouse, they are located across on the bulletin board from the clerk's office.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Dabney.
Yep, real quick. I know she's listening. Councilwoman Dahlia Jigas, my cellmate. Want to wish her some good health soon here. And then I want to talk a little bit about the Oktoberfest that went on over the weekend and Terry Greetham and what he's been doing out there with the events, the parks. I mean, he's killing it. He is really putting a lot of effort into bringing these events into Michigan City. And I just wanted to give him a shout out because he's really working hard at it. So just wanted to pat him on the back, and then also the park department staff, especially maintenance staff. They're out there cleaning up after these events are over. I drove out there today, and it looked like nothing had happened out there over the weekend. Things were clean. I know they have some volunteers that may help as well, but that park staff really does a good job out there. So just wanted to give them a pat on the back as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Preblinsky.
Yes, I have a few comments to make tonight. The first comment I would like to make is about an article that was in a Facebook account on LaPorteCounty.life about Amanda Pickens, our assistant deputy clerk. A very nice article, and spot. It's called Life in the Spotlight, and it's about Amanda Pickens and a positive, kind-hearted soul, and how she talks about high values. And I meet a lot of nice people, and it's nice to be able to give that smile. If someone has a bad day, I like to spread kindness as much as I can. But I will tell you this, after having a lot of contact with the clerk's office, the people that are in the clerk's office need a big amount of kudos, because nothing would happen in what you're seeing in city government without the clerk's office. And I gotta tell you, these ladies are fantastic. Also, this evening, I would like to bring to your attention, to the public's attention, of the ordinance that was passed and signed into law on the 21st day of June of this year with Section 5. And I hope that the city controller's listening to this. This is ordinance 4689. Section 6. The Michigan City Sanitary District shall, within 60 days of this adoption of this ordinance, produce records of all repairs which have taken place since August 12, 2019, in which the residents would have been entitled to payment of the subsidy had this ordinance been in effect at that time. Said records shall be reviewed by the city controller, and if deemed sufficient, the subsidy shall be paid to qualified residents retroactively and shall be prioritized on the basis of the date of the repairs, with the repairs most distance in time received the highest priority. And it also talks about the Michigan City Sanitary District, but the language is already in the ordinance and they're not in compliance because as of today's date, it is the 77th day of the adoption of this ordinance. So I would say the administration better get on the stick because I think there was 6 or 7 people that are on that list. That's a shame. They can't even follow our ordinance. Too bad we didn't put a penalty on them. This is bologna sausage, I'm telling you. BS. And Yvonne, if you need a copy of this, I'll give you my copy. Well, thank you very much for complying with the ordinance. This is a problem we have in city government. I hope everybody takes that into consideration. People who are in appointed positions and elected positions can't even follow it. It's a real shame. Also, tonight, I hope everybody remembers where they were on 9/11 as we approach that date. Yes, the second biggest loss of life besides Pearl Harbor. And that threat is still out there. I want to thank all our emergency service personnel tonight and the police, fire, EMS, everybody that's involved with emergency services. It was quite. Do you remember where you were at? Because I do. I was home from work drinking a beer with my son on my lap, watching the second plane hitting the building. That was unreal. But anyway, I want to say this is that think about it, retrospect on that 9/11. What would you have been thinking about if you were on that plane? What about the heroes that took down the other plane that they said that they theorized was going to the White House? Heroes. So that is an American giving of oneself. I can't say enough. I cannot say enough. I think my brother Don knows where I'm going with this, but I'm not going to allude into that this evening. But I will say, I hope we get our money in to the people that deserve it. And yes, that's why that ordinance took so long to get in place, because I knew that language needed to be there, and this proves a point. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Deitch.
Yes, a couple of things. We went through the first reading so quick. One thing I wanted to bring up is at the last Finance Committee meeting, the wrap-up session, there were a couple of things that, thank you, Controller Hoffmaster, for being here, but there are a couple of things that we need. One of the questions that was asked was specifically about the cut in the controller's office and some of the reasoning behind the clerk's office. Yeah, the clerk's office, my bad. The clerk's office, and the mayor shared that was a personnel matter. So I asked a couple of questions, and one of the questions I asked, since it was a personnel matter, one of the things in the statute, the clerk does all the hiring and firing. So he said that specifically that the reason for the cut was because the clerk's office had issues with inputting into Gateway, and also stated that technology inefficiencies as his reason. And so my question to him then was, this documented? Who did it go to? And were there any audit findings against the clerk's office like we had with the water department? Were there any things from the State Board of Accounts that cited inconsistencies in the clerk's office? You know, because I asked, were there objective reasons for the removal? And he stated that it was a personnel matter and that it couldn't be discussed. But I don't think that the city administration has jurisdiction or any authority to usurp the clerk's office as far as personnel matters. So he said that you had emails and you had all this stuff. And I felt like he was throwing you under the bus, just in my opinion. But since he said that we would need any information on the reason personnel matters for the clerk, because the clerk works for the city council. And if you're going to remove someone from this office, it directly impacts the city council. So if there are any personnel matters, we would want to know. And if that can go to the president of the council, that would be greatly appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Prespolinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple items. Number one, I know that she doesn't work for the city, but she does a great part with the children of the city, and that's Pat Harris, because she coordinated the Michigan City area schools back to school rally. And I know that the Michigan City School Board gave her a presentation at the last school board meeting, but I think myself, the city council, should send kudos out to Pat and her committee for all the hard work they did in making that rally successful. The other thing is what we're going to have tomorrow night for the council. We're going to have workshop at 5 o'clock in the EOC room, and anybody from the public is more than welcome to come. And the two ordinances we're going to be talking about is, number one, amending section 58-60 of chapter 58 of the Michigan City Municipal Code, and amending various sections within chapter 98 of the Michigan City Code pertaining to garbage, trash, and rubbish. And then the other ordinance that we'll be discussing is creating section 22-70 and section 50-151 in the Michigan City Municipal Code to require a solid waste disposal plan for each application to the Michigan City Planning and Inspection Department for a building, electrical, HVAC, and or plumbing permit. And then creating section 22-82C in the Michigan City Municipal Code to require that a building site be cleaned and all construction debris be removed before a certificate of occupancy is issued. And since I am liaison to the Arts Committee, and I am very much like to stand behind this committee, if you get a chance, take a ride past the playground on Center Street, by the Center Street Park. There's a mural being painted on the concrete wall. It's right across the street from Billy Boy's restaurant, donut shop, and that's being done by the Arts Committee. So we are doing a great job in that respect. And one thing I just want to talk about the budget and what I've known, what I found out about the budget. And I think this position is needed, and it's been needed for years. And I know in the past it had come up, but it had never been funded. And that's for a recreation director in the city of Michigan City. I was told that it was included in the budget for the Parks Department, but that it was removed by the city, by the mayor, and the city controller. Now, if you look at our recreation department that we have in Michigan City and the programs that we provide for children or adults or senior citizens or whatever the category may be, Michigan City does not have a lot to offer for children, teenagers, what have you. And this is what we've heard as council members. This is what I've heard, that there's nothing for children to do. There's nothing for teenagers to do from a recreational standpoint. And Councilman Dabney, we were talking about this a month ago when we had the meeting pertaining to gun violence in Michigan City. And you and Miss Williams were thinking about putting that basketball league together. Yeah. And, it's just an example. The council has to think of ideas on how to make children have physical activities. That's the job of the park department. And that's the job of the mayor and the city controller to make something like that happen. So here we sit and we want to find money to give the vector control officer a job as a department head, going from 42,000 to 55,000, and he's only responsible for 9 people in the summer and 5 people in the winter, and he has an assistant that works under him. So there's money right there that could be used for that. Some of these other raises, and across the board, okay, everybody wants raises, but if you can take, instead of giving 6% raises, give 5.5% raises and take that other 0.5% and put it towards this recreational director position so that the children, the adults, the teenagers of Michigan City have physical recreation. We want to be a big time city with all this development coming in and the double track. Well, the people that are coming here from Chicago and these other surrounding areas, they're going to want programs like that. They're going to want a city that's vibrant. They're going to want a city that's on the move, but not to have a physical fitness program. I remember when I was a young boy, we had baseball in the summertime. We had pee-wee football in the fall. We had basketball. We had all these programs, but we don't have them now. If you want to play football now, you got to pay $250 or whatever it costs for Pop Warner. And, to me, it's another miss by the administration to put that position in to make Michigan City a better place and make Michigan City a quality of life city, that we have things to offer people. And, people that are in shape children that are in shape have a better attitude, have a better feel about themselves, and just make the whole city better. So I think the city next year, that needs to be in a budget and it needs to be funded. However we have to do it, we need to do it. Thank you.
I forgot.
Thank you, Councilwoman Deitch.
Please save the date, September 28th. I haven't scheduled it, but I'm working with the president of the Northwest of the LaPorte County Building Trades on doing a workshop on PLAs and RBOs. I know we spent a lot of time at the last meeting talking about contracts and development and having these agreements. So I'm working with them to get a workshop scheduled on September 28th. So we'll have that, and that way we can learn about it so that we're not caught off guard again, and understand what those mean and what other cities are doing. So we'll have a workshop on September 28th. I'm working out the time and the place.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Councilman Prespolinski.
Don, I want to say that I really think that you hit a good point there on doing something for quality of life here in the community. And that is first of all, it's for quality of life, it'd bring the community together. And also, you would find some type of cooperation in that. I do think that we definitely have some weaknesses on doing stuff for the community, and bringing the community together. And I mean athletics or whatever it might be, whatever it might be, a night out with maybe we should start the console night out and going into some different areas in our community. But I will say that, what I'm thinking about is community cooperation, and that starts just like in the family, in city government, it starts with the top executive, and just like in a home. But I have yet to see, tonight proves a point on no cooperation from this administration. Just like I showed you how they violated this ordinance. But on top of that, I want to make a statement to the community that we had no input on what was approved today at the Board of Works meeting. Councilman Don Prespolinski and myself made some suggestions and comments about they're going to be hauling. Are they 66 feet slabs long?
60-foot concrete slab.
50-foot concrete slabs, 20 feet wide, correct?
Not that, about 12 feet wide.
Oh, that's what they told originally. They were 20 feet wide. They're bringing them down, and instead of taking them on an improved highway around Michigan City, bringing them down Michigan Avenue and parking them on 5th Street, that there's nothing happening on 5th Street, and then taking them down Pine Street and unloading them on 10th Street. This is for the parking garage to be built with these pre-cast slabs. They're bringing them down Wabash Street down to 10th Street. They're staging them at St. Anthony's old campus. And so they're going to close down the traffic on Wabash Street from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. when you only have three main intersectors in town. And that is Ohio, Wabash, and Franklin Street. I count Washington Street, but not as a intersector that goes all the way through. That's an intersector. So, it's definitely no cooperation with this outfit. And it's very sad because they're going to have to, it's going to be disruptive to the area. And I think one thing that was missed today was how it's going to disrupt the school system on bus traffic. But, it's a pattern that hasn't slowed down. It's a real shame. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from the council? Councilman Dabney?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Right. Have a good evening.